All right, we're back. I'm having issues with my normal camera, so I'm on my secondary camera, and I'm trying to figure out what's what works. I think that works. That way you can see enough of my yeah. If I lean in, all right, yeah, because I lean in a lot when I think. All right, so you guys can see me. I can't see you. We're here for another fun adventure trying to figure out this Flutter jazz. I've been playing around the past week, 2 weeks, trying to figure out more things that I don't understand about Flutter, um, and understanding some things that I thought that I knew that are different. Um, so I think this week, instead of, well, I think we're gonna try and finish up the theme repository real quick. Uh, but I learned some things about dependency inversion in Flutter, block providers, and some other things. Where I read the documentation and then I tried it and it didn't work the way I expected it to work, and I reread the documentation, it still didn't work the way I expected it to work, and I looked at the documentation again and the documentation says exactly how it's supposed to work, and I'm like, oh well, clearly I have reading comprehension problems and didn't do it right the first time. But anyway, so I've found my way around some things. I've had to Google my way through some problems. So we're gonna try and get through finishing up this theme repository. And I'm gonna start working on the first screen where we can actually enter in the animal's name and start talking about like the domain objects and some of the way that that's gonna work. I looked for a like a carousel view or like a wizard view. I didn't find anything that I actually liked. And granted, I only looked for about 5 minutes, so I'm gonna dig in a little bit more that because the way the design has it, I'm gonna flip over to the design in a second. The way the design has it, it has it as several different screens. But anytime you're doing like an entry that's sharing state, I'd rather have everything in an encapsulated like a wizard view or like a carousel view type thing. That way you can go back and forth and you can change where you enter data if you need to go back, and it doesn't feel like a whole new page and just having pages for no reason in an app. So I'm going to show that real quick. Oh wait, I gotta click buttons. There we go. So that's all just entering in pet information. So we're going to try and get through kind of what the domain structure is going to look like, what a block representation might look like for that carousel. Although I don't know if that's the right way to do it. I'm very much at the stage of I have this hammer and everything looks like a nail. So until I realize that the patterns that I'm using to do the things are incorrect, I'm going to use them and hope for the best because I got to learn them and I got to learn whether or not they actually work. So let's go ahead and get back into the theme bits. So where do we leave off? Okay, we have this theme repository. I believe we have some tests. Let's run our tests. Always back to the tests. How many tests do we have? We've got 8 tests. I'm sorry. Uh, Sesame Street popped in my head and the count and yeah, life. Anyway, um, okay, so the theme repository has one, but it has no. Well, that doesn't seem good. Let's figure that out. I guess I guess technically we don't really need to test the repository implementation, but I guess maybe we do. Yeah, we probably should. So let's do that. Let's test this repository. All right. Let's see. So we're gonna need mocks if we haven't done it already. Let's. I don't remember where we left off with all this, so I don't know. We have mocks. We have mocks. Okay. So let's go to the generate dot dart. Hey, work with me. I swear it's because you're here. There we go. All right, so we've got the theme repository on there as a mock. So let's see how we need to represent this thing. Um, we need need to represent the thing as, I believe, just preferences, or do we even have anything for it? Oh, I think that's where we left off. Okay, we left off. Sorry, it's been 2 weeks and I haven't looked at this much. We left off where we needed to add a data source for the theme repository, and we were trying to determine what does that actually look like. Okay, I'm caught up. We don't actually do that. Oh yeah, we do. There we go. We're gonna create a thing called preferences here in a minute. So I was having this conversation with a colleague of mine the other day, and a lot of times, so like the way state is represented as key value pairs and primitive types for things like preferences is actually not ideal, because you end up having a lot of disassociated non-contextual state. So trying to figure out a pattern to make preferences less. Come on. I swear my entire computer is just slowing down because you guys are here today. Or maybe it's just the fact that I have too many instances of the jazz open. I think that's probably what it is. It doesn't like the fact that I have so many instances of IntelliJ up. So we'll see how this goes. Let's see if we can close one. Maybe we can't. I don't think we can. Okay. Anyway. Moving forward. Where did I put that stuff? There we go. So I've got a thing where I have this preferences file, and I'm not actually going to code it up in front of you guys. I'm just going to copy paste a bunch of junk today because I'm lazy. So bear with me. But I'll talk through kind of what it is that I'm doing as I'm doing it. Because, yeah, I don't think I need where is this? I'm in the core. I'll just add a Dart file and call it preferences. So, yeah, I think we already brought in shared preferences. Yes, I'm pretty sure we did. I'm clicking it, import package there. Yep, perfect. Okay, so preferences really is just a data source, like any other data source, like any other key value data source that you would have in an application. And I find that in some of the Xamarin applications that I've worked on, preferences ends up bleeding out through the entire application. You'll have things in the domain, in the repositories, in the view models, all depending upon preferences, the preferences themselves. I'm starting to think that preferences is no more than a data source, like any other data source, that you need to explicitly, we don't even, that's what it is. We don't even have a test for. Oh, okay, we didn't get far. You need to explicitly put it behind some repository or something, or ensure at minimum, right? I'm not going to say you need to do that and go that far, but you need to do something to encapsulate it so that it doesn't bleed all over the application. And I feel like we as developers do a very bad job of that in general. So, okay, here we go. I'm all caught up. My 2-week old stopping point. We've got data, which means if we've got data in the theme, wait, this is the theme. Oh yeah, here we go. So we're going to have data, we have repositories. So we're going to have data, and we're going to have, let's call it, preferences is the data source, so we don't need to actually explicitly create a data source. What we do need to do is we need to create a repositories folder for the implementation repository. I realize you guys can't see those context menus at all. Dart file. Ooh, did I not click the button right? New Dart file. Dart file should be theme. Yeah, there we go. So we'll create a class, and we'll call this theme repository implementation, and we will extend from theme repository. Gotta love it. All right. So something I learned about Dart this week, that the class is also the interface. So you can, while it's only single inheritance from a class, you can just implement these things, and you get to implement the interface that is the class. I think that's actually pretty snazzy. Not sure how I feel about it just yet, but it seems pretty snazzy. Um, we'll figure that out eventually. So, oh no, we just want theme repository implementation. We want to require a preferences. Preferences. Yep. So now we require that. And now we're going to do underscore preferences equals preferences. There we go. We go create our field. We're going to put our field down at the bottom. Hey, that worked. It's yelling at me because this needs to be late. And I think it's going to be final. And then in the update of our theme state, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? In the update of our theme state. Yep. I'm being lazy and I'm over here looking. Oh, I see. Yep. So we're just gonna update it. Alright, cool. So we're gonna take in the theme state. It says that it can't be both late and final, or is that because, oh yeah, it's because I don't have anything happening over here. So I need to do that. And I think I can just return a future. I can just return state, I think, for now. No, it needs to be an either. Ugh, okay. Yeah, I'm not going to bother with that. I'm just going to go back to throwing an unimplemented error for now. That's way more preferable. Okay. So we've got our implementation of our repository. We don't know what our update method is actually going to look like just yet. So we'll go back to our test of the implementation, and we'll go ahead and get that test set up. So usually what happens is I get so frustrated because people always say, well, you know, setting up the test is aggravating. I get so frustrated with setting up tests. I end up like creating a bunch of live templates and other things to set my tests up faster, just because it gets so frustrating. All right, so we're gonna need that's inside the main late mock preferences. Oh, are we gonna have to run that command again? I gotta look the command up because I don't know it off. Yeah, is that it? Yep, there we go. So it's gonna be, yeah, come on, you can do it. It's gonna be dart run build underscore runner build. I think I gave it the preferences in the generated, right? It's gonna yell because generate is broken. Oops. I definitely broke something. Preferences. Oh yeah, because I didn't import. Alright, so let's run the thing again and see what happens. Expected to find and didn't find. Yeah. Let's just go ahead and delete that. And now let's run the code again. Hopefully now all my code will compile and I will stop being bad at the thing. All right, cool. So now I should be able to. The files have already. Yeah, okay, fine. We'll just retype it because you're better than me. Late mock preferences. Preferences. And then in our setup, we will say preferences equals mock preferences. And then we will give our repository. It's going to equal the theme repository implementation, and we're going to provide it preferences. All right, so now our test is mostly set up. Nope, that's the wrong place. Come on. It's like my mouse is being weird or something. I don't know. I tried to clean it earlier. Maybe that's what it is. I broke it. I'm good at breaking things. I do it quite often. Yeah. On that note, when we were kids, my cousin used to tear stuff apart, like not like tear it apart like Tasmanian Devil, but he used to like take toys and take a screwdriver and take stuff apart and he'd put it back together, and it's one of those things where it's like that's what this feels like these days. Is like I'm always taking stuff apart, putting it back together, seeing how it works. It doesn't work the way I think it works. Put it back together. Okay, it still doesn't work. Take it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All that's good. So I've got all the stuff. So this group is just gonna be. I don't really actually need the group test because this is a repository implementation. I'm just gonna do the update, I guess. Update. Oh, but update is with the lowercase. Yeah. So that whole Unix lowercase was it camel case, like proper camel case, is interesting. Um, should let's do this. I can type should return um, theme when update is successful. Yeah, okay, so when we update and we call the theme, it should return it because it's successful, right? So we've got our given. This is likely going to be asynchronous. So we're going to do we have to mock anything? I think we have to mock. No, we will. We will have to mock something in order to get there. But first things first, let's just get there. So we'll do when final result equals repository dot update for. I don't think it matters, but right now we'll just go ahead and give it a theme state. What is it? I think let's just give it light because I think that's the main theme that we're using here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think I remember that because my other one is using dark. Dark theme by default. Let me take this off because it's actually bothering me. So then we have an expected result that expect that the result, which is either that is going to be right and it's going to be light theme, right? That's the expectation we would have. When we call the update method, the update method is going to give us either a theme state or a failure. So when it succeeds, we send in light theme, we expect to get back light theme. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's right. But if we run this right now, this is gonna tank. But we're gonna run it and watch it tank. Update, yeah. Unimplemented error, yay. Things are right in the universe. We have a failing test. Okay, so from the failing test, we go ahead back in here, and I'm gonna say the preferences don't return. How does that work? So so the data source just returns data, and this thing has to figure it out. So we'll do a try. Ugh. Is that how this is gonna work? I feel like this is how this is gonna work. Yeah. What is it? Try on. Okay, so and it's okay. So it's not try catch. It's try on. On exception. Do that thing. Okay. Yay. Okay, I feel better now. I'm learning. I'm learning how Dart works. So this is going to be the happy path, and this is going to be the probably return. Do I have to do? Yeah, I have to do left, and I'll do a data access failure, and the message is going to be failed to access the preferences. Boom. Yay. Yep, you're yelling at me because I still haven't brought in this dependency on the left. Burr. Left cannot be returned from method update because it has a return type of either. Oh, there we go. Okay. So now that I put async on it, it's happy. Oh, derp. This is yelling because it's a named parameter and I didn't give it a name. So now everybody's const all the way through the file. Okay, so we've coded our error state. We probably aren't going to test the error state, but we coded it. And then what we'll do is we'll say underscore preferences. dot set theme. Right, we're just gonna set the theme. We're gonna do state dot. Wait, why is your theme state different than my theme state? I wonder. Let's go find out. Oh, because I made it different. Dun dun dun. Because I am so smart. Ooh. There's no name of, right? Like there's no. It's like no name of property. Okay. So I am gonna make this change because that's just gonna make my life a little easier if I have a string to deal with. After I got to, oh, preferences shouldn't be key value pairs of primitives. Here I am doing the exact thing that I said that I shouldn't do because I haven't really figured out how I'm gonna make that work. Right, I would assume it's going to be some level of like I take a DTO, I decorate it with an attribute. That attribute would then, or maybe I could even do it with source generation. I don't know. Probably do it with source generation easier, and then it would generate all of the key value pairs that it would need to be contextual to the object. So instead of your key being like last updated time, it would be entity name dash last updated time so that it has context inside the preferences, or maybe even like a dot, but like kind of name spacing of these preferences and giving the ability to put an entire object graph into a key value store that only accepts primitives and pull those values out at when you need to. Oh, nope, that's not how we want to do it. I think that would be ideal. I don't want this to be. So I also learned this week that if you put an underscore, why won't it go where I want it to go? If you put an underscore on a field, it will make it private. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that now. I'm gonna do this. So I'm very big about encapsulation of stuff. I believe it's, and I'll have to look it up. I'm probably going to get this wrong, but I think it's Detmers law, where you shouldn't do like rows upon rows upon rows of dot notation into an object. So I'm very big on that concept. Oh, now I have to give all of these constructors. Oh, this is why I didn't want to do it. Call constructor super. Nope, don't want to make it required. Instead, I want to do this. I want to say this super, and then I just pass in the theme type like that. There we go. So now if I take that, and that's jazz, all right, we'll do that. We'll paste it in here and here, and we will add just the super. So I was actually looking for a name of operator for theme type. This probably doesn't need one. Oh, I guess it would need it. You would need to know which theme failed. Okay, so this actually does require an additional parameter. Required. Let's do this. Required this dot. Oh, there is no underscore theme type, so you'd have to take in a theme type and pass it to theme type. I think that's how that's going to work. And then that should force that to be const. What do you can't define a const constructor with a class with non-final fields. So this needs to be final and late. Yeah, now everybody's happy. Cannot have a late final field in the blah blah blah. So is final enough? Final is not enough. I went through this last time. I remember. Add final field. How did I do this? Am I not smarter than a fifth grader? How am I getting this wrong again? Again, I'm getting this wrong. Damn it. Okay, so I think it has something to do with the positioning of the actual object itself. Yikes! I'm so good at this. Nope, that doesn't matter. Okay. Yeah. Okay, there we go. I'm doing good at this. So now this wants it to be add a late modifier. If it has a late modifier, then it can't have a const, I think is what it is. Yeah. Okay. So that can't be const. Uh, theme type. This needs to be of type string, maybe. Oh no, this can't be const. I figured this out in another convert to super. Yeah, convert it to super. Convert using super. Awesome. There we go. That makes life easier. All right, and just got a couple more red squigglies to get through. So here we'll do that. Here we'll do that. The initial theme is going to be, let's do, I think we're just going to do light and dark for now. So we'll just do light. This is going to be light. Yes, I know that should probably be in a constant somewhere. We'll do dark, but for the moment, I'm just going to type it out in the thing. What else are we going to do? How else are we going to make this difficult for ourselves? Okay. So now we've got a theme state, theme block. This is going to yell theme failed, failure, the theme. Oh, I have the theme there, so I should just be able to do theme type, theme dot underscore theme type. That is how you know we are doing the smart thing. Okay, I guess I'm going to have to make... Oh. Is it going to allow me access to this private thing? Why does it do that? Wait a minute. Now I'm intrigued. How does that work? How does it get access to this? Is it because it's like all in... because all three of these files are technically linked because they're partials type things. Got it. So technically it's all private inside. Yay, that is a win. I don't have to change my access modification. That makes me happy. So we'll do state, and it's going to be here where I need it. Dot theme type. Wah, 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 wah. I could just do... No, that won't work. Okay. Access changing. Let's change this to this dot. Let's get rid of that altogether. Let's get rid of all... Oh, wait. Oh, this needs to be a... Yeah, there we go. And now I need to define this as a... Come on. I am clicking the button in the thing. Required this theme type isn't a field, so create the field theme type. Come on. You can do it. All right, so I went through that whole bit for no reason. Joy. The joys of programming, yeah. Hey, let's see if we can do it this way. We can, but we shouldn't. Oops. Remove unnecessary type annotations in the file. Just, remove them all. These can now probably all go back to being constant, if I had to guess. Oh, no. It's saying that this isn't final. Okay, yeah, now this can go back to being constant, and now everything can go back to being constant. Yay, everybody's constant again. We are so happy. All right, so that's fine. We got a message, we got a theme, we got stuff, we got things. So now, if I come back here, I can put the theme type into my set theme data. Yeah. And I can do a simple, I can just return right state. Yeah. Okay. So now if I run my test again, dun dun dun. Ooh. So this is something I actually really like about Flutter. When I go to to run a test, it will run tests that compile, that all the other stuff for it compiles. So if like one test can't run because one file can't compile that test depends on, all the rest of the tests will execute. So that means I broke everything because I am that good. All right, yeah, that's broken. Is there okay? There's another test over here that's failing. I broke every single test. None of them loaded. They were like, yeah, we're not gonna do that because you don't know what you're doing, buddy. Let's do light. Let's set that to const everywhere in the file, so that way the file stops being squigglied at me. And then we'll grab this again, yeah, because we're doing light theme event. That's dark theme event, so hopefully that means that this will be dark when we do the thing. We will rerun all the tests. Hey, our test is still failing. It expected right. It actually got future. So that means what we should do is we should await the thing. Yeah? Awaiting things is good. Everywhere in file. Run our test again. Come on, come on. I want to get through this. Because this is the end of the line right here. Once this test passes, we can move on to like actually building stuffs. Because we got our theming out of the way, at least. I think we do. We'll probably have to come back and tweak it. You know how that works. Oh, I thought it worked this way, and then I go back and read the documentation. It's still broken. Yeah? I awaited it. Dun, dun, dun. Should return theme when update is successful. Did it not rerun? Did I not? Oh, I guess I just didn't click the button. Okay, great. Okay, so that's good and done. So let's come back over here and look at our happy stuff. All right, so that all works. So looking over here, oh, I'm trying to check in this code before I go too much further, and that won't work. Okay, so fine, we'll do it this way. We'll do it the good old-fashioned way. Git status. What is the podlock files for the preferences? So git add finished up theme testing. All right. So now I would likely create a pull request, but I'm just going to do a git checkout dash b feature slash puppy slash add. Yeah, that sounds about right. Okay. So now we got a new fresh branch. We're going to close all the things, close all the tabs. We're going to come back over here. We're going to look at our Figma, and we're going to see what do we want to do. How do we want to do this? This is going to be add pet, right? So let's go up here to our features. We have feature home. Whoop, 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 whoop. Broken. Don't want to do that. New directory under home, and let's do add. So that's a good question. So I think the feature is going to be pet, and then we're going to have inside pet. We're going to have stuff like add and remove. Because like, would we have screens for those? I would assume that based upon it, we would actually have screens for those, right? So you would have a screen for add, a set of screens for removal. You would have a set of screens for management, right? So like for like pet settings, right? So I feel like the feature is pet, and then under the feature we would have an add, and in that we would have our UI. I'm already seeing this is gonna get like really unruly real fast, but screw it. We're going headlong down the path to see how bad it gets, because we can always just refactor and reconfigure the folders at a later point in time. So I'm not gonna stress it too much today. So let's look at this. We've got let's think of it as a single screen in different states. Even though the design makes it look like several screens, I think it's going to be several screens in different states. So the first thing we're going to want to do is create a block folder. I'm starting to think that the block is where I'm going to start most of the time, because it's like the bridge between what's going on in the UI and the events that I need to surface in the domain to do things. And it's the state, right? It's the state of this stuff. So we're going to create a block class inside here. We are going to use the equatable, and we are going to call this add pet block. Oh, wait. Oh, we're going to see how this works. Add pet. Is it smart? It's smart enough. Haha. Okay, so it figures all that stuff out for us. So we've got some events. And on the event, we're going to bring data down. So we're going to start with the pet type. So, okay. I'm clicking buttons. Nothing's happening. Pinning tab. All right, so let me open up the events. Come on. You can do it. It's clear that I have too many resources being consumed at once. I think what I'm gonna do is I tried to close this earlier, but there we go. It worked now. Let's do a get dependencies, and maybe that fixes everything. Yay, it did. Okay. All right. So, this doesn't look nice. Kill that. I might have to restart this thing if the theme doesn't come back. Or can I just reload? Yeah, this is where I don't know like the IDE and or the framework enough to know whether or not I can just like rebuild the module. Can I reload from disk? There we go. That should be enough to get her done, right? I mean, just do it again, just because I don't know if I saw anything happen. Okay, it looks like it did something. Bring up the file. You can do it. Nope. Okay, well, it's not. It looks like it's not going to give me IntelliSense, or it's not going to style the file based upon the way I would expect it to. I don't know why it's doing that. It's probably something that I don't know that I could figure out. But you'll notice like the theme is not being applied to these new files. So of course I now need to go in here and apply the theme. I'm going to apply that theme, apply, and then I'm going to go back to the new one, which I think I'm digging this midnight. Click OK, and now if I go back to the files, they still don't have it. Okay. So whatever. Those don't work. We're not going to lose any sleep over it. All right, so we've got this. Okay, so we're going to have something where we enter. Okay, so this is going to be a back and forth. Okay, so this is the weird part. So like in this new ChatGPT world, you kind of talk out your request, and it builds a form for you. I'm coming from Xamarin Forms, which is a form input concept. So like you have a data grid where you put a whole bunch of stuff in and then you accept, right? So the design actually calls for something a little bit more wizard-like, in that it's going to take a piece of information, and this is actually going to be like very functional in the approach. Actually, I think I'm going to like this, but I also think this is going to get weird. So we're going to take the same thing. We're going to probably have some animal, because we're going to start with an animal, and we're going to subclass it to dog off the bat, because we only care about dogs, but eventually somebody's going to be like, oh, well, I like this app, but it only works for dogs. Can you make it work for my cat? It's like, man, why can't your cat just be a dog? Ugh. Anyway, I thought it was funny. Anyway, so I think the wizard approach is still like good. So we're going to need a couple of different states for this screen to be in. So this is pet initial state. We're going to move these actually up Haha, you just have to edit the file. That's all it takes. Oh, gee willikers, Batman. Yikes. Okay, whatever. I'm not even getting into it. The initial pet state, we're gonna have a one where we collect the add pet animal. It's gonna be the type. So that'll be where we actually create the animal and start passing it around. And then we'll take in pet name state. We'll have a pet breed. And we will have a pet age because we need to know how old the guy is. Oh, and weight. Yeah. Weight. Because I have a 88-pound boxing dog and not an ounce of fat on him, and I intend to keep him that way, but he's a hefty guy. So usually when I spout that information, they get frustrated. All right, so last two are going to be pet gender and add your image. Add an image of my pet. All right, so those are the states that we're gonna do. This is gonna get weird. We're gonna have to rename this block altogether. Ooh, okay. Yep. Okay. I'm gonna just rename this whole block because we don't really want to do add semantics because I guess we have to put the event semantics. We have to put event at the as a suffix on everything. I just don't want to do that. That just feels dirty. But we'll see. We'll see. Where are we? We've done that. How do I want to do this? Yeah, because I don't like putting the state at the end, and I don't like putting the event at the end. I like the type to define what it is. So if so is it really pet creation? I feel like this is pet creation. So that's not going to do anything. It's not going to be any better if we do create, right? Because that's another verb. So I guess we need to find a different way to express what we are doing. Was that like capture pet info? Yeah, that's too verbose. Um, um, all right, so that's too verbose. Add an event. So okay, how do I want to rationalize this? I we are we are we are we're adding a pet. We're collecting info. Add like pet info. Yeah, let's just call it pet information block. Oh, but that might no. We'll just deal with it. Okay, we'll find a way to deal with the events. And I have a feeling we're gonna have similar events, right? So like, there's gonna be event where it's gonna be. I guess we'll have to call it capture. We'll have to like prefix the events with something, which won't be weird, I guess. I think events. I'm better off at having a suffix. So okay, I won't beat it up too much. So we'll do like a class. Oh, we'll just class add. How about this? We'll just dump all those in. We don't need an initial. These will actually extend from event. Okay, so Now that's actually begging the question, should these blocks all, no, I don't know how block works well enough, so I don't know if all the blocks actually have to be different reference types, i.e. when I go to edit the pet, do I have to have an edit block? I don't actually know that information yet, right? I haven't played with Flutter enough, so I'm learning. But for right now, I think I'm going to have to keep everything just separate until I find a point where I can merge it, because I feel like it's always easier to combine things than it is to try and separate them out. So I think I'm going to go with that. So add pet animal. I think I'm just going to suffix everything with event, and that's just going to be what it is today. And we're just going to have to live with that fact. Let's go ahead and create the missing overload, and then we're going to take this missing overload and we're going to stick it up here. We're just going to, don't do that. We're just going to return. This is just going to return empty. Yep. Just return empty, and we're good to go. So now all the rest of them have it, so we can go back. All right, so we are going to add an animal. We're going to add an infant. We're going to add a name. We're going to add the breed. All right. So now let's talk about what our domain is going to look like, because we're going to have some fun with that, I guess, right? What are we using for the terminology for actual? Oh, we haven't decided yet. I think I'm going to use entities. Entities. I think entities is what I've landed on. Yeah, so I think I'm going to call them entities, even though that offends my entity framework sensibilities. I don't know what else to call them. So until I come up with something better than entities, this is what they'll be. So we're going to have a Dart file, which is going to be an animal. Class animal. Animal. Blah, 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 blah. All right, so class animal. At minimum, based upon our block definitions, we are going to require a type. So I think that's going to be something that we don't use a discriminator for. We may use a discriminator in the data layer, but we're going to try and use the type as, I think we're going to use sealed too, because I think I'm actually going to go reread that right now. Y'all just have to bear with me because I need to make sure that I understand exactly how this sealed works. Sealed keyword in Dart. So class modifiers in Dart, sealed. Let me click on it. It won't let me click on it. Okay. Abstract, base, interface, final. To create a known enumerable set of subtypes, use the seal modifier. This allows you to create a switch over those subtypes. Okay, perfect. That is statically ensured to be exhaustive. What does exhaustive mean? Exhaustive checking is a feature that reports compile time errors if it's possible for a value to enter a switch but not match any of it. Okay, perfect. So, yes, sealed is what we want because we want to be able to switch on the type at certain points. Okay, so animal being sealed is good. What we're going to need for our animal, we're going to need we're going to need a string name. You're just going to add the late modifier, sure. Yeah. We're going to need a name. We are going to need, I didn't actually research how that should be represented in Dart. Breed. I think I'm going to leave the breed as a string for now because it's easier than trying to do an enumeration that I don't know all the breeds for. How old is your pet? I struggle with taking in age because I feel like age is supposed to be an object in and of itself. But for right now, I think I'm gonna take in a double for the age, and I'm gonna come back to the age later. And then I'm gonna take that, and that's gonna be the weight. I don't think we care about the height. We're gonna do gender, create class. That's gonna be an enum, and it's gonna be there we go. Gender. So I think there's going to be a lot of copy with going on in here, which is why I said it's going to be kind of like FP-ish here in a minute. And then the image. So we're just going to do a string right now for the image because I don't know what that's going to look like just yet. And that's actually, we're going to explicitly make that nullable because there's certain things that I don't think that we care about. Like if you don't give us an image, I don't think I care. We need an identifier, so the name. Oh, this needs to extend equatable. Oh, yep, there we go. There's my C# brain. Extends equatable animal class is marked, but they aren't marked as final. What does that mean? Does that mean that if I click this button, you're going to automatically put all of these in the encapsulate field? Nope. Not at all what we want to do. I feel like there should be a button that just automatically, so animal, that automatically just brings everything in as constructor parameters. So we're going to need required. We are going to need a this.name. Required. We're going to need this.breed. Required. We are going to need this.age. We need to know how old the dog is. You know how this.weight. Required. So now I actually don't know how this is going to work out because I have a feeling I'm going to have to do some of that copy with stuff. So if I... Because right now I'm not able to create one with this information. So how does that copy with work? I think we'll get there in a minute. I don't know if we'll actually get that far anyway, so I don't think it matters. Late. Everywhere where we have late in here, we will add final. Replace 6. All right, so now you can be a const constructor and you can be happy for the moment. Yay, you're happy. No. See, there we go again. Can't have late fields in a const constructor. Okay. So then we just delete all those. Must have a value. This can be late. This, we don't care about that thing. Right? Oh, I can just do... Can't define a const constructor. That's fine. I don't care. But then it says this... Still giving me this immutability bit. So instances, fields aren't final. So this is going to be late final. And now everybody's happy. And now you can define a const constructor again. Okay, I probably need to figure that part out because as you see, every time I make that change, it falls over on me. Anyway, so we've got an animal. We've got stuff in the animal. We have defined it so we can say we should be able to create tests that verify all the things, but right now this doesn't have any actual... I feel like it needs to... I feel like it needs to take in... This is where... Okay, so this is where age gets me every time. Age is not static, right? So... If you put in the animal today, it's tomorrow, it's like its age is already going to be invalid, right? So we need a way to calculate that age based upon some starting point, right? So instead of age, usually I like to take a date of birth. So I think I'm going to change age to date of birth. And I'm going to change this to date of birth. And then I'm going to change this from double. I'm going to change this to date time? Question mark? What does date time give us in Dart? It gives us comparable date time. Stopwatches. So date time class is not provided internationalization. Okay, that's fine. So if we need to know anything outside of the US, we'll have to deal with it. So date time takes in a year, day, a month, an hour. So I can basically construct it from a date picker wheel, take in that information, and then okay, yeah, I think that's we're gonna change that. We're gonna take it in from like a date picker, take in the time, the actual date time for the date of birth, and then we can calculate the age. So the age will be something that we calculate based upon the current date time. Ha! Big brain stuff. So that actually be our first method that we put on the animal. Will be double age, and it will take in a date time, and it will say probably today. That's what we want, and then we will return 0 for now. So we'll calculate the age based upon today's date at any given point in time, so that way you don't have to constantly go in and update your dog's. You know, update it every year. It just frustrates you, right? I'm frustrated just thinking about it. Let me pin that tab. Let me pin that tab, and let me pin that tab. So that means that we are at least at a point where we can start testing the block. So let's go create some block tests. Yeah, let's go do that. We don't even have a features folder here, so let's do new directory, features. Inside features, we are going to do, I think we did pet. Was it pet? Does it give me, oh, it doesn't give me the current. Yes, it does. Features, pet, add. Perfect. Features, pet, directory, add, and we will have a directory for, I know this is like extremely verbose, folks. I don't know if I'm gonna like it because of its verbosity, but I do like the way that it's like modular. Block, so that follows this pattern. Yep. And then we're gonna do, under our block, we're gonna do a new Dart file, and we're gonna call this add underscore pet underscore block test. Ha 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 ha. And then we will go back over here to our theme block and see how to grab the thing. So we're gonna need a main. Oh, I could have just used the, yep, we're gonna do exactly that. We're gonna hit the F12 button, we're gonna copy that, we're gonna cancel, we're gonna delete that. Yep, I'm a horrible person. I'm now gonna come back over here, I'm gonna create my Flutter test with that, and that gives me this. So now I can just change this from a test to a block test. Boom. And now I'm gonna come back over here to my theme block test because I like this bits here. Copy it. I'm going to take this and I'm going to paste it. I'm going to then take this and it's going to be add pet block. I believe it's the block in the state, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. Should emit. Oh, I don't care about that just yet. So we'll figure that out in a second. Should emit nothing. All right, so I think the initial state is always the easiest to test in the block, so we'll just do group initial, and we'll copy this one too real quick. And I think this is a group in and of itself, so yep, there we go. See, that's exactly why I think I prefer to just do the block. So the block is going to equal add pet block. Currently we have no mocks. Create local. Nope. I want to do a late block. Nope. Block. Add pet. Oh. Cart before the horse. There we go. Now my left brain and my right brain are working. So block dot state. Because like I don't know how good of an experience that is. Whether you just give you, yeah, because I'm not gonna let you add multiples at a time because that gets too confusing. So when you pull it up, you get to choose what type from a picker. I think picker's probably the best way to do it. Let you load from the types, the animal types, and then based upon the animal type, then I move you into the details. So I think the first state is going to be the animal type state if we have that. Did we create one? Maybe we were good enough. Nope, that's the theme block. We don't care about that anymore. Let's go grab, this is the add pet. So we're going to pin this tab. We're going to pin the animal. We don't care about preferences right now. You've got add pet state, pet event, pet animal event. Where's the state? State. Clicking. Okay, I'm clicking it. There we go. Okay. I just realized how I can make this select animal type. Or I just do animal type. Animal type. This is going to be enter name, enter breed, enter date of birth. Yep, I'm going to type the whole thing out. Enter weight. This is going to be select. And this is going to be, what is that? What does it say? Is it add? Yeah, it's going to be capture image. Yeah, no, add image because you won't always be capturing it from the camera. So that seems bad. Okay, so now we've got all of our states figured out in a better way. So we will go close all but pinned. Animal dart, pet block. So this should now be add pet initial. Okay, so that's what we expect. Ooh, these are not, why are these constant? Okay, whatever. Oh, no, we can't run those tests because this one's going to fail. So let's actually just take this. Let's clean this up. We don't care about this use case. We just want to return the block for now. We don't have anything to do here just yet. And we are going to return nothing for state. All right, should emit. There we go. So those two things should be accurate at this point. We have compiled enough code. All right, so the add block test, the initial is fine. Okay, so now we're gonna go from to the select animal state, right? So we're going to say, how do these block tests work? Oh, I have to actually advance the block. There we go. All right, so okay, so I'll probably end up having to put use cases into the block in here in a minute. Okay. How does that make me feel? I'm not quite sure how that makes me feel. Now I gotta put use cases into the block when the block is basically the state. I guess it's the state machine. It represents the state machine. It's just, usually I put my state machines as the dependency and they go, and stuff goes around them. So I'm having to invert my thinking. So that's kind of difficult for me. But I'll make it. I'll make it through. So let's change these from that pet state to pet animal type. So there's no way. There should be no way. There should be no way that we can get to this point without. Ooh, okay. Yeah, so there's no way that we should be able to get to this point without having gone through the initial. And at this point, the state should have a representation. Yeah, I don't know how generics work in this just yet, but the state should have. I'm thinking should have some representation of the animal that we're working on. So I think at this point, the add pet animal type state. Oh, let's think about that. So they click. So okay, what's the event? That's probably the add pet animal event. Animal type selected. Okay. So it's a pet, which is a thing, and then it's an animal, which is a thing, and those two things aren't the same thing, right? Like a animal is no a pet is a subset of animal. I'm saying that right? Yeah, yeah. Pet is in the subset of animals, right? Because there's animals that live in the wild and there's animals that are domesticated. Okay, so the pet type doesn't make sense. So add pet animal type selected. I'm think now I can take these off the event off. Although it might be, I actually need to go back and look at the block documentation to say what the best practices are around that. I'm pretty sure they tell you you should put the event on there. Let me see. Let's go. Y block FAQs naming conventions. Here we go. It says. Okay, yeah, it doesn't have a prescription for putting the event on the back. Great. That means that if I do it, no one's gonna look at my code and be like, "You didn't add it. You're a horrible person." Blah 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 blah. Yeah, I don't care. I don't care. I will do what I want to do when I want to do it. On. Okay, so it's just on the event type, right? So when I go to my add pet block, oh, here we go. So when the uh, add pet. Oh, this is where it gets weird. Okay, let me go back to the event, right? Because, okay, so we have the animal type selected, but we have to have something that gets us to that first screen, or is it just going to be a navigation? So we get to the navigation, the screen that we get, the navigation navigates us to the screen. The first state that we see is going to be the initial state. And then when they select a type, we are then going to take that type and move it down the pipeline. Okay, so they are going to select a type of animal. Ooh, this is where the typing system in Dart is going to probably throw me for a loop. I need to figure out when the event of animal type selected. Oop, didn't mean to cut that. Just wanted to copy it. When that event happens, what do I want to have happen? So I think this is the question, right? What do my tests expect? So when the block. Oh, I remember why I did that block bit. Because this is block and that is block and everything is block. But if I make this an underscore, that just makes it private, which I don't think matters in the global context of all of this. Here I can return block, and here I can use block to do an add of the add pet there we go, and then I expect it to be in state animal type. That actually doesn't seem right now that I think about it. So this is why I like unit testing, because like I'm like, it doesn't seem right. Once I select the type, I should be in. Yeah, okay, so yeah, the emission of that should not put me in the animal type state. It should put me in the enter animal. Yikes. If I could just click the buttons today, life would be much better. There we go. There we go. So it should be in this state. So when this fires off, right? Yeah. Yeah. And this is going to be, and we're doing this based upon states, right? So, ooh, this is an interesting thing. I haven't, maybe the block, maybe they say something about this when they're talking about testing, maybe. But up till now, I've been grouping the tests based upon the state that I'm testing. Now I'm wondering if I should be grouping them based upon the event that I'm firing. Like which came first, the event or the state, the chicken or the egg? I think it's the event comes first and then the state after state update. So maybe I should do this based upon the event name. We're gonna try that and see if that makes a difference this time around. So when we add the state, or so when we add the pet animal, the block happens, and we should be in the pet entered name. And the pet entered name should have the it should have, oh, I think all of these are going to have an animal on them past the initial state. So I think that this, oh, but see, yes, so that's the thing. So it's either we make those nullable, we do a copy with, and we do some validation at the end to verify that we can actually proceed, right? So maybe there's going to be an event that says like verify. Right, some event that says that, hey, we have all the information we need to keep going. But I guess we're doing this in a wizard-driven way, so that's not actually going to be a real thing. So once we add that event, we are done, and we should navigate. So that'll be fine. So we have this block. We return the block. That should be converted to an expression body. Yay, we're happy. So it's saying that it should emit that, but it doesn't emit that. One failed, but there should be two tests in here, so why didn't... Oh, because... Got it. Okay, because that's under that. Okay, so then let's go make the thing do the jazz. So here, we'll go back to the block, and we'll say that the block... So, if the state is... Because we only want this to happen when we're in the initial state. Add pet initial state. Then we're going to fire off and we're going to emit the add pet enter name state. Yes, haha. So that's where I feel like having those on there might actually be helpful, knowing which one is the state and which one is the name, being able to look at it. Because it gets really confusing, it seems like, to do with that handler. So now, if we run our test again, this should pass. Fingers crossed. Uh-oh. Okay, there we go. I just didn't click the button hard enough. Okay, so let's go. Can we go back to the test? No, it's not going to just automatically navigate us back to the happy test. It should emit. Yeah, I am getting weird behavior right now for my buttons. Underscore block state. No, this should just... Oh, yeah, it's going to be underscore block state. It's going to expect that to be... Okay, so I am at the point where I like to encapsulate all the things. So while external to the block, I don't actually want you to know about what event gets fired. I just want to give you a method that tells you to like to do stuff. So like let's... Oh no, that's not what we want to do. So I'm going to go back to my block and I'm going to try and encapsulate that event being fired in a method. That's the constructor. So here we'll do a method and we'll do a, maybe, I can probably just get away with void for now, and we can do a, because this is kind of like a builder pattern. This is going to get weird. We're going to take in some string. No. This is where I said it gets awkward, because we're going to take in the, yeah, we'll take in the string. No. How do we, okay, so let me think about, for the next stream, what I'm going to figure out is this. Okay, so this is actually a good starting point, a stopping point. So what we're going to do is this. We're going to go ahead and put this add type in here. We're going to leave ourselves some notes. So we're going to say, we're going to put it to do. What's today? Today is 06/22/2024. And what are we saying? We need to determine how to pass the animal subtype to this method so we can create an instance of that type. Oops. Okay, there we go. So that's our to-do. It's going to tell us that next time. We don't know what this input type is going to be. And it feels like this is just going to be a builder pattern on top of the actual animal object itself. So I don't know what this is going to look like right now, in all honesty. Maybe I actually create a formal animal builder. But I think that like Dart does it for you with that kind of concept of copy with. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can find an example of that in another project that I know that I have used. So I can say Control-Shift-5. Come on. It's got to load. Copy with. Yeah, so I think if I do it that way, where I have a copy with implementation, I don't think I need that. Okay. That's some of these things just can't be required, or they have to be late final or something. I think is how it's going to end up working. But I have to figure that out. I think the to do in here. Let's just put a to do right here at the top. To do. Again, a live template that I usually have set up that isn't working correctly because I'm good at all the things I do. There we go. Not with two H's, just one H. There we go. Save that. So I need to figure that out for next time. And at that point, next time, we at least have our block kind of set out in terms of the events and the states that we have. I'm sorry, the events that coincide with screens. Maybe the block is overkill. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just a glorified bit on top of a builder. I don't know. Maybe the animal actually is the builder. Like, here's a question is like, is question, can this be the builder? Leave actual question. Okay, so these are these are the couple things that I'm going to leave off for next time. I think at least we have an understanding of how to set up the block, how to set up a test for the block, and we've got an understanding that Rodney prefers to do stuff along the lines of like .add type, and then that add type underneath the hood. If I go back and do this and just say this, yep, copy that, and then re-put all my stuff back, and then come here, then this would just, nope, there we go, and instead of, yeah, it just grabbed everything. Okay, fine. And it's just going to do that. Right, so now at least my tests will still pass when I call the .add type method, and now my block has encapsulated the concept of the concern of emitting the actual event itself, and now my events don't have to bleed all over my my application, i.e. in my UI I don't have to do add event. That way when I go to refactor later because I realize, oh, add pet animal type selected is a horrible event name. I can just do it right here, and that's the only place that it actually gets used, and it's all internal and encapsulated to the block architecture itself. So I think this is where we're going to break for this week. It's been fun. I've enjoyed myself. I may leave this in the state that it's in. I may actually go a little bit further and try and figure out that issue around how to do the Dart typing. But regardless, I will see you next time.